Recently, Simon Pegg has come out and said some things that were less than ideal. It is a kind of dumbing down in a way, because it's taking our focus away from real-world issues. Film used to be about challenging emotional journeys or moral questions that might make you walk away and reevaluate how you felt about whatever. Now we're walking out of the cinema really not thinking about anything other than the fact that the Hulk just had a fight with a robot. It is frustrating to hear him say these things, and he's one of geek culture's celebrity royal family up there with Will Wheaton and Joss Whedon and Felicia Day and Aisha Tyler. So hearing him say these things are very disappointing. But him talking about the dumbing down of geek culture, I kind of see where he's coming from. I don't think his comments were absolutely right, and actually neither does he. He came back and apologized for what he said and clarified the message that he was trying to make. The dumbing down comment came off as a huge generalization by an A-grade asshorn. I did not mean that science fiction or fantasy are dumb. Far from it. How could I say that? In the words of Han Solo, hey, it's me. I guess what I meant was, the more spectacle becomes the driving creative priority, the less thoughtful or challenging the films become. I agree to some extent to what he's saying. I don't agree with all of it. He's talking about how the more spectacle you put into movies and even television shows and games and anything, the more spectacle that you focus on, the less you take away from story, and that a lot of the big blockbuster movies today are very much focused on spectacle and less about story or meaning or characters or anything that are deeper than skin level. And I understand what he's saying, but I have to disagree. Yes, a lot of the big blockbuster movies today are very big with fights and action and shiny things, but at least for me and my friends, they weren't just that. When we walked out of Avengers, Age of Ultron, the movies that he's talking about where the Hulk fought a robot, the Hulk fighting the Ultron robots, or even fighting the Hulkbuster, we weren't walking out of that movie talking about how cool was the Hulk fighting the robot. We were talking about the intricate complexities going on with Age of Ultron, with the characters and the backstory and the character development and the events in the movie and the consequences it would have for the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I don't know what groups he's talking about. I'm sure there are those who walked out of that movie just thinking about the Hulk beating up robots. But not everyone, at least not everyone, was talking about that. I'm sure a large portion of the people who went and saw Age of Ultron weren't discussing just the Hulk fighting robots. The other two movies that I've gone to see this summer so far have been Pitch Perfect and Mad Max Fury Road. Both were good movies. Pitch Perfect was okay, and Mad Max Fury Road was great. It was just a solid, great movie, but neither of those movies did I walk out saying, oh, that looked cool, and that was it. We walked out of those movies talking about the movie and the events, the characters. With Pitch Perfect, we talked about what we liked, what we didn't like, what we thought would make it better, what we thought they could have improved on. With Mad Max, we were talking about how just the characters and what we liked about the characters, whether it was feminist propaganda, and just how good the movie was in general. And we weren't talking about the spectacle, and there was a lot of spectacle in Mad Max Fury Road. I mean, just look at those amazing car chases and those car fights. Those were amazing. But there was more to the movie than just those car fights, and we definitely noticed that, and we definitely talked about that and focused on that. So, yes, there is spectacle, but there's more to movies than just spectacle. Now, if these were Michael Bay movies we were talking about, yes, absolutely. I'm not saying he can't make a good movie. I'm just saying 90% of the movies he makes are literally just boobs and explosions, which, hey, don't get me wrong, boobs and explosions are great, but I also want character and story in these movies as well, which Michael Bay runs short on, like the Transformer movies or even the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies. Again, they were pretty to watch, but there wasn't much else to them. But if I'm going to a Michael Bay movie, I'm not really expecting much else. So I also have the chance to be pleasantly surprised, which so far I haven't been. I can understand where Simon Pegg is coming from. There are a lot of times where even I feel like geek culture is being dumbed down to reach the level of intelligence these creators think the audiences are. But I don't think that's the case. I mean, for me, I feel that way plenty of times when I'm watching certain TV shows that, they're not making these TV shows to the best of their abilities with characters and development and story because they're trying to hit these big romance or action points because that's what is mass appeal, and I disagree with that. When I first heard his comments, no, I wasn't mad at Simon Pegg, and I'm sure that he wasn't trying to be mean or sound like an A-grade asshorn, as he says. He was making a comment, and it was taken a little bit the wrong way. And I absolutely respect him for coming out and apologizing for the way he said it and clearing up what he says. That the more spectacle there is, the less story there can be. I just disagree with that. I feel like a lot of the movies have equal parts spectacle and story and character. What do you think about what Simon Pegg said? Let me know in the comments and follow me on all the internets. Also, remember, if you leave a comment on this or any of the other videos in May, you enter for a chance to win this Bike Trooper Funko figure. So leave your comments, subscribe to my channel so we can geek out some more. Thanks for watching. So Captain America, Thor, Hulk...